It's not a good time for trans people, and it's not a good time for information. I keep hearing people say that trans people have been designated a domestic terror threat. That is incorrect. The Heritage Foundation is doing their damned best to make that happen, but it hasn't happened. The Department of Justice wrote a memo, and a memo isn't the law. As of today, trans people are not considered a domestic terror threat. That can change, and that's what would have to happen before other stuff happens. But things might be in the works, but they have not happened. Until 2013, trans people were considered to be mentally ill. In 2013, that changed. It wasn't until 2020 that our identities became completely protected by law. It wasn't until 2009 that doing something to a trans person that was awful just because they were trans was considered a hate crime because of the Matthew Shepard law. Some of us have been living this way since the 70s and 80s, and we're here. The Lemkin Institute, is that how you say it, said that we are entering a G-side. They called it the early stages. Scary, right? Why did they say that? Well, they said that because things are rolling back to the time before the 2000s. Being seen, being recognized, being protected by the law for the last 10, 15 years has been wonderful, and they are doing everything in their power to roll that back, and that's a reality. The state you live in has got a big head start over the federal government, and that's who you should be worried about first. If this was a G-side, would you still be getting your medications at a pharmacy? If you've ever gotten medications or been to a doctor, they have your address. They know you're trans. If they could, they would. They can't. Not yet, anyway. Now, if this was really, really as bad as you're making it sound, tell me why you're still online making videos. This is what's funny about your generation. You'll say all these things and argue about words, what defines a G-side, if it's happening or if it's not. You'll argue with other people, but you won't do anything to actually act as though this is actually happening to you. 2 years ago, I made a video telling you exactly what was going to happen, because all they're really doing is turning the clock back. As long as you girls are on here showing me your new FFS or your new boobs or telling me that bottom surgery is scheduled, I'm going to panic a whole lot less. Does that mean that things aren't bad? It doesn't. Things are bad, and things are going to get worse. And my question to you is, what are you waiting for? Let me break it to you slowly. The tide has turned. This is the beginning of it, not the end of it. This has less to do with the guy that's in the White House and more to do with all the people that are in Congress, all the people in your state. If you're really afraid, then you better start doing something, because no one's coming to save you. There is no Superman. I'm sorry this is all happening, and I understand that you're afraid. But don't be so afraid that it paralyzes you. Be afraid enough that it actually motivates you to do something. This fight I keep hearing about hasn't materialized. I'm sure that report that said that we're in the early stages of G-side will also say there comes a time where it's too late. Waiting until then would be very, very, very foolish.